Okay, I want to start today by planting a a very specific, maybe slightly uncomfortable image in your head. It's Monday morning,
Oh, no.
and not a fresh start Monday. This is a grind Monday.
Hmm.
Maybe the alarm didn't go off or you hit snooze 3 times. Doesn't matter. You are already 10 minutes behind.
The classic frantic start. I think my blood pressure just went up hearing you say that.
Right. The cortisol is already spiking. You're rushing around, trying to multitask. You pour coffee, you turn too fast, and splash.
Of course.
Hot coffee all over a clean white shirt. And right at that exact moment, because the universe has a darker sense of humor than we give it credit for, your phone buzzes.
And let me guess. It's not a meme from your best friend.
No, it's a work email. Subject line: urgent. Or maybe, we need to talk. Your stomach just drops. The room starts to spin a little bit. You can feel that heat rising in your neck.
We have all been there. It's that specific flavor of panic where the world feels like it's, I don't know, physically closing in on you.
Exactly. But here's the question we need to ask. In that specific moment, shirt-stained, heart-pounding brain fog rolling in, where is the you that knows how to handle this?
Yeah.
Where are all those coping skills, the breathing techniques, the rational thoughts you learned in that self-help book you read last month?
They just vanish.
Right.
Poof. Gone.
Yeah.
You revert to factory settings.
You know the information, you have it, but the moment you actually need it, it feels like you're completely defenseless. Today, on this deep dive, we're figuring out why that happens.
Why we get stupid when we get stressed.
Basically. And we aren't just looking at the problem, we're looking at a very specific, and I think a somewhat unusual solution.
We are. We're digging into a fascinating set of sources. We have a breakdown of a musical track called The Sonic Prompt by an artist named Ti-Fi, plus liner notes, and a transcript from a podcast called Reclaiming You.
And what's so cool about this is that we're not really analyzing a song in the traditional sense. We're not here to, critique the melody or rate it out of 10.
No, we're analyzing a hack for the human nervous system.
This deep dive is really about solving what psychologists call the access problem, because the sources argue something pretty bold. They say, we don't have a knowledge problem. We know what to do.
We just can't get to that knowledge when the fire alarm is ringing.
Which is a terrifying realization, actually.
To know you have the tools but be locked out of the shed.
So let's unpack that glitch first. If we want to understand the solution, we have to understand why our brains betray us on those Monday mornings. The source material uses this incredibly vivid imagery. They call it the plastic chair scenario.
I love this description. It's so specific. Ti-Fi paints this picture of like a Tuesday evening. You're sitting in a recovery college workshop or maybe a therapy group.
Yeah, set the scene for us, because I think most people have been in a room like this, whether it's for therapy or even just a corporate training.
It's those fluorescent lights humming overhead. You're sitting in one of those really uncomfortable, stackable plastic chairs.
Oh, I know the ones.
You know, the ones that dig into your back. The air conditioning is humming. Maybe you have a cup of lukewarm tea in a styrofoam cup.
And you're probably holding a workbook.
Right.
Or a notepad.
Exactly. You have a workbook on your lap. You have a pen. The facilitator's at the front, writing on a whiteboard, explaining concepts like distress tolerance. And here's the key. In that moment, you are calm.
You're regulated. You're safe. Nobody is yelling at you. There's no coffee on your shirt.
You are taking notes, nodding along. You feel capable. You're thinking, okay, I get this. Amygdala, prefrontal cortex. Next time I panic, I have the plan.
You feel like a superhero in that plastic chair. Like, I am the master of my own destiny. Bring it on, Monday.
But then you fast forward back to the spilled coffee. Where's the workbook?
Probably on a shelf at home. Buried in a bag somewhere.
And that calm, rational version of you who sat in the plastic chair, gone. The sources call this the gap between the workshop self and the crisis self. And psychologically, this isn't just forgetting. This is a phenomenon called state-dependent learning.
Okay, I've heard this term before, but lay it out for us in this context. What is state-dependent learning actually doing to our brains?
It's a mechanism of memory. Basically, our memory is tied to our physiological and emotional state. We are really, really good at remembering things when we are in the same emotional state as when we learned them.
So if I learn something when I'm happy and calm...
You'll recall it easily when you're happy and calm. It is very easy to remember how to be Zen when you're already sitting on a meditation cushion.
That feels like a cruel joke of biology. Here's a skill, but you can only use it when you don't actually need it.
It really does feel that way because it's incredibly hard to cross that bridge. When you are metaphorically on fire, Your heart rate's at 120, cortisol spiking. Your brain effectively locks the door to the information you learned when you were calm. The state itself blocks the access.
And that is Monday morning amnesia.
That's it. The sources dive into the biology a bit too. It's not just that we forget, it's that different parts of the brain are driving the bus.
Right.
When you're in that plastic chair, your prefrontal cortex is online. That's the CEO of the brain. Logic, planning, complex thought. But when the coffee spills, the amygdala takes over. That's the lizard brain, the alarm system.
And the amygdala doesn't care about your workbook.
Not at all. It cares about survival.
Yeah.
It shuts down the CEO to save energy for fighting or fleeing.
So you literally lose access to the smart part of your brain.
Precisely. You aren't stupid, you're just offline.
Yeah.
The connection is severed.
That explains so much. The source material introduces another term here that I think a lot of us will relate to. They call it the skill collector's trap.
Oh, this one hit home for me. I am definitely guilty of this.
Me too. It's this idea that if you've been in the self-improvement or therapy world for a while, you become a library. You have binders on CBT, DBT, ACT, mindfulness.
You have the apps on your phone, the handouts from the seminars. You're a walking encyclopedia of coping mechanisms.
You have collected all the badges. You have the knowledge.
But here's the trap. When the crisis hits, the library feels empty. The anxiety lies to you. It tells you, you are unprepared, you are defenseless, you don't know what to do.
And because the stress hormones are flooding your system, you believe that lie. You forget you even have the binders.
So you panic not just because of the spilled coffee, but because you think you've lost the ability to handle the spilled coffee.
You start panicking about the panic.
It's the second arrow. The first arrow is the stressor. The second arrow is the judgment that you're failing to handle it. The disconnect between the workshop self and the crisis self is the biggest barrier. We don't need to learn more skills. We need a way to access the ones we already have.
Enter the sonic prompt. This is where the deep dive gets really interesting, but before we get into it, I have to play the skeptic for a second.
Go for it.
It's a song. I mean, we're talking about deep neurobiology here, amygdala hijacks. Can a 3-minute pop song really fix that? It sounds a bit, I don't know, light.
I get that. But the sources are very emphatic about what this track is not. And this is where the distinction lies. When I say therapeutic music, what do you think of?
I think of flukes, waterfalls, maybe some whale sounds. Very slow, very soft. Enya, maybe?
Exactly. And the source says explicitly, this is not that. It is not a slow-paced tutorial. It is not a guided meditation with birds chirping.
Thank goodness. Because honestly, if I'm stressed, like properly Monday morning stressed, and someone puts on slow whale sounds, I might throw my phone across the room.
And that's a valid reaction.
Is it? I always feel guilty about that. Like, why am I not relaxing? The whale is telling me to relax.
No, it makes total physiological sense. When you are in a high arousal state, high stress, heart-pounding slow audio creates a mismatch. It feels dismissive. It feels impossible to sync up with.
It's like your internal metronome is going 180 beats per minute and the audio is at 60.
You get friction. It's like trying to brake a car from 100 miles an hour to 0 in 1 second. You get whiplash. So the sonic prompt goes the other way. It's described as a high-energy functional anthem. It has a beat, it's driving, it meets you where you are.
The source calls it an audio sticky note. I love that visual.
That's the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
The goal isn't to teach you a new skill. The song assumes you already know the skill.
It assumes you took the class.
Right. It's just prompting the files you already have installed in your brain. It's like a receipt that proves you bought the software.
There's a lyric in the song that sums this up perfectly. I don't have to guess what keeps me well. I wrote it down. I broke the spell.
I broke the spell. That's powerful. The spell is that amnesia, that lie from the amygdala that you're helpless. The song breaks it by just holding up a mirror to what you already know.
So let's deconstruct the track a bit because the way it's built is really clever. The first verse is all about what it calls daily maintenance.
And notice what it lists. It doesn't say, go run a marathon or solve all your childhood trauma right now.
No. It's things like hydrating, checking the internal weather, getting sunlight on your face, 5 minutes of air.
It's the basics, the biological basics.
Wellness encoded in the rhythm, as the track says. It frames recovery not as this huge, insurmountable mountain, but as these tiny, intentional steps.
Which is so crucial when you're overwhelmed. When you're spiraling, your brain catastrophizes. You think, I have to fix my entire life, and because you can't do that in 5 minutes, you freeze.
Paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. But if the song just reminds you to drink some water, you can do that. It lowers the barrier to entry. It gets you moving.
Then the lyrics move into something more technical. They reference the acronym STOP.
STOP. Stop, take a step back, observe, proceed. It's a classic distress tolerance skill from DBT.
Right, dialectical behavior therapy. But here's the nuance that the expert in the source points out, and I think this is brilliant. The song doesn't force you to stop.
No, it doesn't. And this is key for the rebel part of our brains. If a song ordered you to stop now, you might resist. Instead, it acts like a road sign that says hospital.
Walk me through that.
Okay, so when you are driving and you see that blue sign with an H on it, you don't necessarily swerve into the emergency room.
No, you keep driving.
Keep driving. But just seeing the sign makes you feel safer. You know it's there if you need it.
It's a psychological safety net.
Exactly. The song's lyrics reference the STOP skill to remind you that the hospital is there. You don't have to go in, you don't have to do the exercise perfectly, but knowing you could stop, that alone reduces the panic.
It just turns the volume down on the fear.
Precise.
Now this leads us to the part of the track that really blew my mind, the bridge.
The bridge focuses on breath work.
Specifically box breathing. The lyrics go in for 4, hold for 4.
A very standard, very effective technique. Navy SEALs use it. It works.
But, and this is the key from the liner notes, during this section, where the lyrics are telling you to breathe, the music does not slow down.
It keeps driving.
The drums keep kicking, the tempo stays high.
Which is completely counterintuitive. Usually when the breathing starts, the music fades, the tempo drops, everything slows to a crawl. But Ti-Fi kept the energy up on purpose.
Why? That seems like it would make it harder to breathe slowly.
You'd think so. But go back to that Monday morning state. You're rushing. You're agitated. The world doesn't pause for your anxiety.
Oof, that is so true. My boss doesn't stop sending emails just because I'm breathing in for 4 counts.
Exactly. So if the track suddenly stopped and demanded you enter a Zen state, it would create that friction we talked about. You'd think, I can't do this right now. I'm failing at this meditation. It adds pressure.
It makes you feel like you're doing it wrong.
Right. So by keeping the beat driving, the track matches your internal state. It paces you. It says, we are still moving, we're still handling business, but we are going to breathe while we do it.
That's a huge distinction. It's integration, not escape.
Yes. And whispering the code, in for 4, hold for 4, acts as what the source calls a confidence check. It triggers the memory of the classroom without demanding the performance of the student.
It's just saying, hey, remember, you know how to do this.
Yes. The key insight is that just knowing you could do the breathing exercise lowers the temperature. It breaks the feeling of helplessness.
Yeah.
It's a shift from, I have to do this, to, I am able to do this. That is massive.
I love that. It's subtle, but it completely changes the power dynamic. You aren't a victim of the panic. You're a person with a tool belt.
Completely. It gives you your agency back.
So we've got daily maintenance, we've got breathing. Then the song moves to another classic technique, grounding.
The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique.
The lyric is simply, name 5 things I see.
Now think about what happens physically when we stress. We get tunnel vision. Literally.
Like physically, I thought that was just a metaphor.
No, it's physiological. When the amygdala detects a threat, a tiger, a nasty email, your visual field narrows. You focus entirely on the threat. You lose sight of the periphery.
So I'm just staring at the email and literally nothing else exists.
Exactly. So this lyric is designed to snap you out of that tunnel. Just hearing that command reminds the brain that there is an external world, even if you don't actually stop and list the things.
Just the reminder that they exist widens your peripheral vision.
It puts the threat back in context. It forces the brain to realize, oh wait, there is no tiger. I am in a room. I am safe.
It's a reality check. Crowning myself in reality, as the lyrics say.
It anchors you.
The track ends with this spoken word section that the sources describe as the inventory check. It goes, I have my breath. I have my community, I have my routine.
This brings us right back to that skill collector idea. This is the moment you look at your shelves and realize they aren't empty.
The source uses this analogy that I found really comforting. They compare it to checking your pantry.
Yes, my favorite part of the source material. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night with this sudden, irrational panic that you are going to starve to death.
Okay, scary thought.
The panic feels real. But then you walk to the kitchen, you open the pantry, and you see cans of beans, rice, pasta.
You don't have to cook a meal right then.
No, you might not even be hungry. But just seeing that the food is there, realizing the pantry is full, It stops the panic about starving. You know you have the resource.
You are fully stocked.
That is the core message of the outro. I have my breath. I have my community. It's a stock take. It's confirming that your internal resources are still there. They didn't vanish.
And this distinction is so important. It's about possession versus performance.
That is the critical takeaway. The song doesn't demand you perform the skills. It doesn't grade you. It just asks you to acknowledge that you possess the skill.
The battery charger.
Or a verification code. It verifies that the work you did in therapy, in those workshops, it stuck. You didn't lose it. It was just offline for a minute.
I think that's such a relief for people because often when we spiral, we feel like we failed. We think, oh, I'm anxious again. Clearly, I learned nothing.
Right. And this track flips that script. It says, no, you are anxious. That's human. But look at all this stuff you have to handle it. It validates the struggle while validating your resilience.
The sonic prompt is basically a receipt.
It's a proof of purchase for your own hard work.
I love that. So we've covered a lot here. We started with the Monday morning amnesia, that feeling of forgetting everything you know when stress hits.
We looked at state-dependent learning, why the amygdala locks the door to the prefrontal cortex.
We talked about the solution, using functional audio not as a teacher but as a notification, an audio sticky note that matches your energy.
And we deconstructed how the track serves as an inventory check, reminding you that you are fully stocked without the pressure of performance.
It's a shift from trying to force yourself to be calm to simply reminding yourself that you are capable of calm.
And that subtle shift makes all the difference.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a thought. The sources emphasize this isn't magic. The sonic prompt isn't a magic wand. It's about access.
It's a key to the shed.
Exactly. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time the room starts to spin, ask yourself this. Do you actually need to fix something right this second? Do you need to learn a new skill?
Or do you just need a reminder that you are already carrying the tools to fix it yourself?
Because usually we don't need a savior, we just need a prompt.
We just need to check the pantry.
We just need to check the pantry. Thank you for diving deep with us today. It's been a pleasure unpacking all this with you.
Always a pleasure.
Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.